to PianoVideoLessons.com. In today's lesson, we're going to learn to play We Three Kings. This is a beginner level piano lesson, and it is part of the very first Christmas song series. The first piece that we learned in this series didn't use notation on the staff, and this one does, but don't worry, I'm going to show you everything you need to know. The only two prerequisites that you need for this lesson are from the beginner piano lessons series, and they are in fact the first two lessons, which are the piano key names and the piano hand finger numbers. So if you don't know your key names or your finger numbers, then you must go back and take those first two lessons from the beginner piano lessons series. In this lesson, we're going to be reading on the staff, and this lesson comes complete with the sheet music to play We Three Kings, and also the workbook theory component that goes with this lesson. So what we're going to do first is we're going to examine the notes that are played in We Three Kings. In order to play this piece, you need to know the notes. So beginning at the first of the piece here, we have the note E on the bottom line of the treble staff, and you can see it here in the worksheet. So we're just going to go through the worksheet, and on this top line it teaches all of the 8 notes that you need to play. So I'm going to show them to you now. Beginning with E on the bottom line of treble staff, that is the E that is found here, immediately above middle C. And you can see it's a line note, it has a line going through it. The next note going down is D. And you can see that this D is drooping down just below the line that the E was strung across like a bead, and this one is below the line. The next note we need to know is C, and you can see this note is so low that it can no longer touch the staff lines, so it has its own special line. It's called a ledger line. So these are the first 3 notes that you need for this piece, and they are all played in treble clef with right hand. Now, moving to the left hand, we have another middle C. This is the same key on the piano. This is how you would see it played in treble clef, and this is how you would see it played in bass clef. So you can see that it is the same piano key, it's just written closer to the bass staff when it's intended to be played with bass staff notes and with the left hand. Continuing to move down, we have the note B. This note sits just above the top line of the bass staff. And then we have the note A, which is strung like a bead on the very top line of the bass staff. So now we have all the way from E down to A. And in fact, this takes up the first 2 lines of the We Three Kings song. The next 2 notes that we have here are only used on the final line. So this note here is on the second line up, and this note is treble G, and treble G is on line 2 of the treble staff, and treble staff, treble clef, is often called the G clef. So this note G is just above C, C, D, E, F, G, and it is a line note. And then going down 1 into the space between the first 2 lines is the note F. So there you have all of the notes that you need to play We Three Kings. Now, if you did find this a little bit fast or overwhelming, a really good idea would be to have a look at the note reading crash course. This teaches the notes one at a time, and it's a nice slow way to learn your notes. So if you find that learning all 8 of these notes at once is overwhelming, then please do hop back over, and you can find that at PianoVideoLessons.com and here on YouTube. So now this little exercise sheet has you practicing the notes in the treble clef and the bass clef that we just learned. So again, to review them, they're E, D, C in the treble clef, C, B, A in the bass clef, and then the last 2 in treble clef are G and F. So you should practice these notes on your own, and I'm going to right now just go ahead and label the answers to these notes so that you can have the answers. So here on the bottom line is E, and then here we see the note below the line, very close to E, is D, and then it goes back to the line, same note E. This note here has a special short ledger line through it, it's middle C. Then we have the note that's a little bit higher than middle C, hanging from the staff, it's D, back to ledger line, middle C, just below the staff, back to D. I like to think of this as like a drop of water dropping down from the staff. It's dripping. And then we have middle C again. And then we have the bottom line, which is E. And then we have bottom space, F. Line 2, G. Bottom space, F. Then we have bottom line, E. Space 1, F. Bottom line, E. Now, a really good idea also is to play through these notes on the piano. That would begin right here by middle C with the note E, D, E, C, D, C, D, C, E, F, G, F, E, F, and E. Obviously, it's not a song, but it is good practice. Okay, now these ones are all in the bass clef. Let's go ahead and answer these ones. So here we have the short ledger line, which comes from this note here, C, in the bass. And then we have B, which is just sitting on top of the staff line, the top line. So if we had a drip dripping off this line of the treble staff, it could land and make a little blob of water. So if you wanted to think of a drop and a blob, that B blob is sitting on the very top line, above the top line of the bass staff. On the line, we have the note A, and that's what this is. And then we have another top line note. The top student is an A student, so the top line of the bass staff is A. Here we have the blob again, and here we have middle C with its ledger line. Then we have B, blob, ledger line C. Some people like to think of middle C as a cat with whiskers, and so these are the little whiskers sticking out on either side of the C. So this is a treble clef C, and this is a bass clef C. Then we have another one sitting above the line. You know what that is, right? It's B for blob. Then we have top line A, B for blob, top line A student, little line through it, C, B for blob, top student, A. All right, so you're a top student and you have learned all of the notes that we need for We Three Kings, but let's talk about how notes move on the staff. So when they move, they either can repeat or they can move by neighbors. So this is an example of a note that repeats. And this is an example of notes that move by neighbors. So here, looking at the music, we can see that if notes repeat, they're on the same line. So here are two E's repeating. If a note moves by a neighbor, it moves from a line to a space. So a line note E to a space note F are neighbors. Or we could move from a space note F to a line note G. So anytime you see a note that moves from a line to a space, or from a space to a line, it means you're moving one piano key in that direction, either up or down. So the directions on this worksheet ask you to circle all of the notes that repeat and draw a line connecting notes that move by neighbors. And neighbors are those notes that are just beside each other. So just to review, a repeat, the note sits on the same line or in the same space. And a neighbor is a note that is beside each other on the keyboard and will be represented either by line to space or space to line. So let's go ahead and follow the instructions. So it says circle all of the notes that repeat. So here's E with another E, so that's a repeat. And then it says draw a line for all notes that move by neighbors. So here we have E to F, and then F to G, and then we have G repeating. Then we have G to F, F to E, E to D, D to C, and C repeating. C to D, D to E, E repeating. E to D, D repeating. Next line, we have E repeating, E to F, F to G, G repeating, G to F, F to E, E to D, D to C, C repeating, C to D, D to E, E to D, D to C, C repeating. You will notice that these are very similar, and it's actually because this comes from a piece of music. I wonder if you could play it and guess what it is. But there is a slight change at the end of the line. All right, and now let's look at this left-hand line doing the same thing. We have C to B, space to line, line to line, repeating note. B, A to B, B repeating. B to C, C repeating. C to B, B to A up, B down, A repeating. A to B, B to C. So this is just to help you recognize notes that repeat and notes that move by neighbors. All right, so the final thing that we need to do to really know all of the theory behind playing We Three Kings is understand the rhythms that are used in this piece. And so the rhythms are, there are three types of note. There is a colored in note with a stem, and that's called a quarter note, and it counts for 1 beat. There's also a note that's not colored in with a stem. That is a half note, and it counts for 2 beats. And then there is a note that looks very similar to this one, but it has a dot with it, and that is a dotted half note, and it counts for 3 beats. So just to review, we have a quarter note, which is 1 beat. We have a half note. How many beats for a half note? 2 beats. And we have a dotted half note, and that dot adds time to our half note. And how many beats do we have for a dotted half note? 3. So let's have a look at this music, and we're going to see that it goes half note, quarter, half note, quarter, half note, quarter, half note, quarter. And this piece of music is in 3/4 time, so that means that there are 3 beats in each measure. So we can count this 1, 2, that's the half note, and then the quarter note has 1 beat, so we're going to give it beat number 3. Because there are only 3 beats, we start over again counting at 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Every time we see a bar line, that's a clue to start counting at 1 again. So for every half note, we have to count 1, 2, and for every quarter note, we give it 1 beat. So in this case, beat number 3. So let's clap that. It would go like this: 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And I've written all of these as C's, so you could play them. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You could use any finger to do that. Let's look at the next line. Still in 3/4 time, we're going to count 1 for the quarter note. Another quarter note gets 1 beat. That's beat number 2. Another quarter note gets 1 beat. That's beat number 3. Now we have 1, 2, 3. We're going to hold this dotted half note, holds for 3 beats. So we're going to play this one for the entire 3 beats of this measure. Start counting at 1 again. 1, here's a quarter note. 2, another quarter note. 3, and then we have a dotted half note, so we're going to hold that one for 3. Let's go ahead and clap line 2. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And now we could try playing this on middle C. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Excellent. And now this final line is also written on middle C, but you can see it's written near the bass staff, and we're going to write the counts in. So let's try this. How many beats for a quarter note? 1. So we put beat 1 on the quarter note. Now this is 3/4 time, so we have 2 beats left, and we have a 2-beat note here. It's a half note. So we're going to give it beat number 2 and beat number 3. Then we have a 3-beat dotted half note, and we'll write 1, 2, 3. Notice I always line the beats up with the note as it begins. So holding for 3, and then in this next measure, I have 1, 2, and 3. 3 quarter notes. And then we have another dotted half note, which gets all 3 beats of this measure. 1, 2, 3. Excellent. We can clap it. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And we can play it using left hand because it's now in the bass staff. And we're going to have 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Great. So now you've had your total theory lesson and you know everything there is to know in order to play We Three Kings. So what you should do now is review each of these things within the piece. So beginning at the start of the piece here, we have the note E. You can see it's here on bottom line. And then we have the note D dripping down and middle C like a cat. Then we have A student, blob, C, blob, A student. Then we have E, and then D, and then C. Then we have A student, B, C, B, A student, back to treble clef, C cat, C, D drop, D, E, E, that's repeating. So these were repeating each time. Then we have this next note that's only found at the end of the music on line 2, G, treble G. Then we have F. Then we have E on the bottom line, then drop, back to E, back to drop. Then we have in bass clef, C, pussycat, blob, and A student. So there you see all of the notes from We Three Kings are shown to you on this top line of the theory page. Next thing you should do is make sure you understand where the repeats are and where the up-down notes go. So just looking at this, it goes E, down, down, A, up, up, down, down. So I'm just saying if they go up a note or down a note. Then we have E, which goes now down a note to D, down to C. Here we have A, up to B, up to C, down to B, down to A. Here we have C, repeat, up to D, D, repeat, up to E, E, repeat. And now we're on G, moving down, 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 up, down, and then C, down, down. So if you wanted, you could go ahead and circle all the repeats and draw lines connecting the ups and downs. You don't have to do that. Sometimes it's a little too busy on your page. Most importantly, you should understand that this happens on We Three Kings. And last of all, you should clap the rhythms for this piece. So you should go through counting to 3 and clap the rhythms. So I'm just going to do this top line and show you. It would go like this. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, left hand. So that's still beat 3, but it went right hand, left. Now you can ignore all of these things here. These are rests and they indicate silence. Only looking at the notes, you can move between the hands. So again from the beginning, it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, left. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I finished here, back to the right hand. 1, 2, 3. And now here, 1, 2, left. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now on to the right. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Last line. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So that is all of the rhythm and notes and intervals that are used in We Three Kings, and I know you're just chomping at the bit to play this. So with good hand position and curved fingers, we're going to begin with third finger of the right hand on this bottom line E, and then looking to the left hand, we're going to begin with third finger on top line A. And here we have our thumbs taking turns playing this middle C. Sometimes it'll be played in right, sometimes it'll be played in left. So let's begin. We're going to play E and hold for 2. E, 2, then D and C, 2. So counting 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and then 3. So now we've made it all the way to here, and we're on to B, C, B, A, hold 3. So I said A, hold 3, which is the same as counting A, hold 3. It counts you 3 beats. 3 beats. And then keeps going here with E, which if we haven't moved our hands, our third finger is still on this E. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Switch hands. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1. Oh, that's that G way up there. That's the first time we've come to this G. G, down, down, down. Up, 2, 3. So when you're playing this piece, you have to be thinking about 3 things. You have to be thinking about which finger you're playing. You have to be thinking about what the note name is, and you have to keep your beat moving along. So sometimes it's a good idea to break that up and focus just on one thing at a time, focusing maybe just on the note name. So E, D, C, A, B, C, B, A. Now it isn't necessary that you know the letter names in time. More importantly, you know the starting letter for each new pattern, and then you can tell if it's repeating or moving up or down. So here we could just go E, down, down, A, up, up, down, down. And these are all moving from one note to the next, from line to space or from space to line. So they're not skipping over any piano keys. If we were playing here, we would have C, repeat up D, repeat up E, repeat, and then up to finger 5, it's written on here, 5 on G, down, 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 up, down, C, hold, down, down. So I'm just going to play this through once from the beginning so you can hear the whole thing. Very good. Now, important that you be able to count when you play. A lot of students find this difficult because it is. What you should be able to do is count to 3 the entire time you play this piece. So let me demonstrate that. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It's also important that you know every note in this piece. A fun game to play, if you think it's a game, is just pick a random note and then name it. D, B, C, E, B, A. Be able to name every note. You don't have to play it like this. E, D, C, A, B, C, B, A. That's a little unnecessary. It's good if you can, but you don't need to. More importantly, you need to know quickly the note that begins each new group, and then read them by ups and downs from where you began. So E, A, and then E, then A, now beginning with C. I'm reading neighbors and step-ups. Now G, excellent. So if you have any questions, please post them in the comment section on YouTube, and you can find this entire package at PianoVideoLessons.com. You can print out the worksheets and the sheet music, and then you can impress your friends that you can read music and play We Three Kings. Thanks for watching.